What's up guys, Perry from Rockville here, and today I'm going to show you how to set the gain on your Car Subwoofer Amplifier. Now there are two ways you can approach setting the gain on your sub amp. One is for a balanced sound, and the other is for a max performance setup, which gives you that loud booming bass and pushes the subs to the absolute max. Now if you need help installing an amp in your car, check out our video on that, and if you want to know how to set the crossover on your amp, check out our video for that as well. So let me run you guys through our setup really quickly. Here we have our head unit, which is powering our main full range speakers here, and the head unit is connected through RCA cables to our external monoblock amplifier, which is powering our sub. For our balanced sound setup, we'll start with the main speakers, so we'll turn the volume on the amp all the way to 0. Next, you'll want to play a song that you're very familiar with or that you listen to often that's heavy in bass, so you have an idea of how you want it to sound in the end. So we'll want to start by raising the volume here on our head unit until we hear some audible distortion coming out of our full range speakers, and then we'll want to lower it 1 or 2 notches from there so we don't hear the distortion. Just keep track of what number your head unit was at when it started distorting, because you don't want to go over that number or it'll start to sound unpleasant. Alright, so we're going to start to turn the volume up on the head unit until we hear that distortion. We can go higher, So now we're going to bring the subwoofers in, and as the song is playing, we're going to adjust the gain on the subwoofer amp until the sub and the full range speakers start to sound perfectly blended together. And this is really to your guys' preference, so you can bring the bass in however loud you want to balance with your full range speakers. So here we go, the song's playing now, we'll start to bring in the sub. Now, a cool thing about the Krypton amp that I'm using here today is that it comes with a bass knob remote, so we can control the gain level of our amp from the front of our car, as opposed to going into the back seat or wherever our amp is located to adjust the gain level from there. Just be sure to set the bass knob level to about 5 or 7 while we're adjusting the gain on the amp, so you'll have room to add or reduce volume from there. Using a bass knob remote is extremely convenient because if you listen to a variety of different genres or songs, you can adjust the subwoofer's gain as you drive for the best sound quality experience. Now, the idea for max performance setups is to push the subs to the absolute limits to get the loudest possible sound coming from your whole setup. But a quick disclaimer before I show you guys how to set the gain for max performance, just make sure that the amps and subs that you're using have a match power of 30% more or less. So we're going to start the same exact way, but using our most bass heavy song. We're going to raise the volume on our head unit until we start to hear some audible distortion coming through our full range speakers, and then lower the volume from there. After we set our head unit to where we know we have a clean signal without any distortion, we're going to want to raise the gain on our amplifier until we start to see the clipping indicator start to illuminate. The goal here is to raise the gain until the clipping indicator is constantly illuminated and then lower it from there, so at the most it only blinks briefly when it's at the loudest parts of the song. That's when you know you're reaching the amp's limits but keeping the subwoofer safe. Another great thing about the bass remote knobs that come with the Krypton amps is that it comes with a clipping LED indicator light. So as you're setting the gain from the front of your vehicle, you'll always be able to know when your amp is clipping and set it right below that point. Just remember as you're setting the gain on your amp to leave the bass remote knob to about 5 or 7, so you'll have headroom to adjust later on. Alright, so here we go. Raising the volume on the main speakers. Again, we're raising it to the max. We're just gonna keep pushing it. there you have it, guys. That's how you set the gain for a maximum performance setup. Now there's many other methods that experienced car audio competitors might use. For example, if you're trying to burp your subs at a competition, that requires a whole nother setup. While these are simple and easy ways to set up your amp for balanced sound or max performance setup. Another thing to note is that there are many tools out there to help you set your gain through a more visual guide, like the AD1 Amp Dyno or the DD1 Plus. But again, the methods that we used in this video are easy ways to get started with your amp setup if all you have to use are your ears. So hopefully this showed you guys how easy it is to set the gain on your amp for your subwoofers. But of course, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to reach out to our customer support team through phone or email. As always, I'm Perry from Rockville, and we'll see you guys next time.